Welcome to Blue Mountain Wildlife. My name's Lynn, and I'd like to take you on a little tour of our new education building. But first, Blue Mountain Wildlife is a wildlife rehabilitation center that serves Eastern Oregon and a good part of Eastern Washington. Our main facility is located here in Pendleton. We have a Washington facility also. We do about 3 different things actually: wildlife rehab, we do education programs, and when we collect data that we share with researchers. So, but right now I'd like to show you our new building, and let's go meet some birds. We're inside the vulture pen now, and this is Daryl and Daryl. Daryl with a Y and Daryl with an E. They are turkey vultures. They actually came to Blue Mountain Wildlife from Alabama. They were admitted as nestlings to a rehab center. This was back in 2000, and we got them in 2001. So their turkey vultures are native to Eastern Oregon and Washington. Our vultures are a little bit smaller than Daryl and Daryl, who came from Alabama, so they make bigger vultures there. Vultures are scavengers. They eat the same things as birds of prey, raptors. They have a sharp curved beak, kind of like a raptor, but it's not quite as stout and big. So they can tear things apart, but you'll notice they have feet kind of look like a chicken. They're actually more closely related to storks than hawks, so they have a stork foot. And where they will use their feet to hold things down, they don't really have a powerful gripping foot like a raptor, because they scavenge dead things. And Daryl with the Y is the boss. As you just noticed, the other guy had to leave, or she actually. They're both females. We didn't really know when we got them whether they were male or female, but about 7 years after they arrived, they each laid 2 eggs. So we deduced they were female, and they've never laid eggs since then, though. But scavengers, the vultures are scavengers. They have incredibly good eyesight. They'll soar. They have a big, broad wing, and they can soar for hours with very little exertion. Doesn't take them very much energy at all. So they can survey, great distances looking for dead things, and they're looking for crows and ravens that are down on the ground, maybe gathered around a carcass or for a carcass. But they can spend a lot of time up in the air soaring, looking for food. And then of course they'll go down after the eagle leaves, and then they get their turn to scavenge, like a dead deer or anything that has died. Roadkill. Sometimes we get birds that have been hit by cars, and the vultures. You want to come over here? There we go. We'll scavenge on that, and sometimes they will become roadkill. So they got to be kind of careful. You'll notice that Daryl has his skin. His feet look white. The skin, the upper part of his leg, is pink, and so are his legs, his toes. But the reason his feet are white is from his mutes, basically the fecal material, the urates. When he excretes them, they run down his legs, and it's a cooling mechanism. They live where it's really hot a lot of the year. And so that is a way for them to cool themselves off, because you have to kind of use what you have, and that's all they have. So this is Daryl and Daryl. Now let's go meet a golden eagle. This is LB. LB is a golden eagle. He came to Blue Mountain Wildlife after being hit by a car. He had a head injury, and initially he was blind. And so being not so creative sometimes. LB stands for legally blind because he has regained some vision. He would be considered legally blind, I'm sure, if he was a human. He can see well enough to have lain over there on another perch, and he could fly. He's fully flighted, but he does have some vision problems, and you can tell he's had a head injury, especially if he gets a little bit nervous. But golden eagles, we have two species of eagles in North America. Golden eagles are a booted eagle. So you'll notice, if you can see, he's got feathers clear down to his feet. His toes are bare, but the lower part of his legs has feathers. There's only one other species of raptor, well, two others actually, that in North America like that, and that is the rough-legged hawk and the ferruginous hawk. And so, like them, the golden eagle has feathers clear down to his feet. They get their name from the gold-colored feathers on the back of their head. They are, and that stays with them all the time. They don't ever get a white head like a bald eagle. It's just the golden color. They're a soaring bird. They have a big, broad wing. Their main food, our favorite food, are jackrabbits. And so, in some areas, jackrabbits are kind of in decline. Their populations are cyclical anyway, but so in some places, golden eagle populations are kind of going down too because of that and habitat loss. But golden eagles are one of our largest birds. If you look at its head, it's still very similar to that of a red-tailed hawk, just a larger head. So this is LB, the golden eagle. Now let's go take a look at some bald eagles. Now we're in the bald eagle pen with Jonathan and Rita, two adult bald eagles. Both of these birds were hit by a car, and Rita is the bird closest to the wall, and you will notice that her left wing is longer than her right wing. She lost the tip at the wrist of her right wing, and she was hit by a car. Jonathan is missing part of his left wing. So they came in a few months apart in 2001. So they've been here for 20 years, and they both have their full adult plumage now. It's kind of hard to tell, but you'll notice Rita is a little bit larger than Jonathan. In birds of prey, the females are generally larger than the males, and that is the case with these two eagles. Now, bald eagles are fish eagles. They like to eat fish. Their lower part of their legs are bare, unlike the golden eagle, who had feathers clear down to his feet. So they're fish eagles. They also are scavengers, just like the other eagles, goldens, and they will scavenge like roadkill or winter killed deer, whatever they can find. They're perfectly happy to do that, as well as actually go out and hunt. So this is Jonathan and Rita. Next, we're going to go meet Frosty, the snowy owl. Now we're in here with Frosty, the snowy owl. Frosty came to Blue Mountain Wildlife in 2012, in December of that year actually, after being hit by a car near Yakima. So snowy owls are an Arctic bird, and they breed up in the Arctic, but they come down into Oregon and Washington occasionally in the wintertime. And so he was a young bird, and those are usually the youngsters that come this far south. And he was hit by a car then. He had a dislocated shoulder and a scapula fracture. And he can fly now, but he doesn't fly very well. So he's not well enough to make it back to the Arctic anyway. Of course, it's a little warm for him in eastern Oregon as compared to the Arctic. But snowy owls are actually a diurnal owl, which sort of makes sense if you think about it, because in the time of year when they're nesting and needing to hunt to provide prey for their babies, it's light almost 24 hours a day. So they need to be able to hunt, both day and night actually, but they're considered diurnal. Frosty's a male. We're fairly certain of that, although it was there was a little bit of discussion to try to figure that one out. But he's managed to do pretty well in the heat of Eastern Oregon for all these years, because we've had him now about almost 10 years. So this is Frosty, the snowy owl. Now we're in the medium owl enclosure, and first we're going to meet a barn owl. And barn owls are cavity nesters, and as you can see up here, we gave the owl a really nice little cavity, but she would prefer to be behind the box, so that's where she is today. Now, barn owls are nocturnal. People think of most owls being nocturnal, and these truly are a nocturnal owl. They eat a lot of small rodents, so if you're a farmer or have an agricultural business, you really like to have barn owls around because they eat a lot of rodents. They have very large families. They can have 6, 8, 10, 12 babies, and they all eat a lot of rodents. So they're very beneficial that way. They hunt on the wing at night. So they like open fields, and they will fly around in big circles listening. Owls, they have really good night vision, but they hunt primarily with their hearing, and their ears are offset, so they can actually triangulate on a sound. So a barn owl can actually locate a rodent running around under the snow or in the tall grass. They can use their hearing to pounce, to locate and actually capture that rodent without even necessarily seeing it. Their hearing is so good. It's kind of hard to tell on these little guys, but owls have feathers clear down to their feet. So the lower part of their leg is feathered. This helps for silent flight, because in order to use their really acute hearing to locate prey, they have to fly silently. So if you hear an owl or see an owl at night, you won't hear them flying because their flight is totally silent. And they do that by the upper surface of their feathers feel like ultra suede. It's really soft, and it helps muffle the sound of that bird as they go through the air. So this is an excellent nighttime predator designed just for that. Barn owl. And then also in here are 2 short-eared owls. The barn owl is a cavity nesting bird. The short-eared owls are ground nesting, so they nest on the ground in short grass, bunch grass, in open fields. Now the barn owl is nocturnal. Short-eared owls are crepuscular. That's one of my favorite words, crepuscular. It means active at dawn and dusk. So these guys will be out early in the morning and early in the evening, and they also hunt small rodents. For most raptors, it's easier to tell. The larger ones are female and the smaller are male. With short-eared owls, it's not quite as easy to tell. So you can see the bird on the perch up higher is larger than the one on the bottom. Neither one of these birds have ever laid eggs, so we're not really sure. But you can also see they have tiny little ear tufts on their head, and which is, of course, where they get their name, short-eared owl. Now we're in the falcon mew. These are our 2 largest falcons, or at least most common large falcons. A peregrine on the left and a prairie falcon on the right. Now, as you probably know, peregrine falcons are the fastest creature on the planet. They've been clocked at over 200 miles an hour in a dive. But both of these birds can dive really fast. They go up from really high elevation. They're flying around. They're looking for a bird. They're bird hunters, although prairies also hunt rodents as well as birds. They're flying around up there. They're looking for prey. When they spot that bird, or mammal, whatever, bird in the air, they go into a stoop or dive, and they go incredibly fast. They pull in their wings. They go very, very fast in order to catch their prey. Their wing is long, narrow, and pointed, and that's what allows them, the shape of that wing, to go so fast. Both of these birds were going in a dive and diving fast, and they crashed into a fence. and they both lost part of their left wing, so neither one of them can fly. Falcons, all falcons have a dark eye, so and they have a stripe on their face. Now the prairie stripe is pretty narrow. The falcon almost looks like he has a hood on his head. The stripe on his face is very wide. So both of these birds, like I said, they can dive really fast, and that's how they catch their prey. They're primarily bird hunters, and very vocal. Peregrine and the prairie falcon. Now we're in the buteo mew. So buteo is broad-winged hawk, or soaring bird, and that's what all four of these birds are. They are able to soar. Bird up in the window, that's kind of hard to see, that's a Harlan's hawk, which is either its own species or a subspecies of red tail. There we go, it's a little easier to see it now. This particular bird actually holds the record for the most number of pellets in her body. She was shot and she has 21 lead pellets in her. When we got her in, she had 2 broken wings and a broken leg. Of course, we all know that shooting native birds is illegal, but fortunately she survived, and she doesn't fly well, but she can actually fly. But this is a bird that probably nests up in the Arctic, up in Alaska, I should say, and it comes down here in the wintertime, and she was found shot in the winter near Yakima a number of years, 2009 I believe it was. So that's the Harlan's, and next to her is a kind of intermediate or almost dark phase of red-tailed hawk. And this is a male red-tail. He had one of the highest lead levels of any hawk we've ever admitted. His lead was about 150 micrograms per deciliter, which is 20 micrograms per deciliter is considered toxic. So he couldn't fly. He could actually stand. He was just really lethargic. And once we chelated, we gave him medication to lower his lead level. As you can see, he can now fly. He's also been shot, however. He has an air rifle pellet in his left shoulder. So that's why he's not releasable. All the birds that we've seen today are non-releasable for a variety of reasons. Let's see. Ruby, why don't you go back and get on your perch, okay? You want to get on your perch? Come on, a little bit more. There you go. All right. So Fergie is a ferruginous hawk, and up on the upper part of that perch is a rough-legged hawk. Now both the ferruge and the rough-leg, if you remember when we talked about golden eagles, they have feathers down, clear down to their feet. Now the ferruginous hawk, one with the white, they nest here in North America, and then they generally migrate, go further south, either California or Texas, somewhere south of here, in the wintertime. So they live here in the summer, and then they go south for the winter. Rough-legged hawks, this is where their south is. They nest up in the Arctic. And so Lauren, the rough leg, she's missing part of a wing also, like the falcons were. Someone shot her as well, and she lost part of her left wing, so she can't fly either. But you can see she has feathers clear down to her feet. And they are, like I said, they're an Arctic bird and winter down here sometimes. But all these birds are broad-winged hawks, have a somewhat similar silhouette in that they have a big broad wing and they're good at soaring.